Hi and welcome to the channel. My name's Jake. Happy New Year to start with. So this video today is going to consist of sort of the last month of just getting the niggly things and the finishing touches done. Those finishing touches always seem to take the longest, but we have finally made it. Stay tuned to the end where I'll be driving this thing, some onboard and some external stuff. This thing sounds incredible. So let's get stuck into it.
Whilst installing the new right-hand headlight, it was clear to see that it was in far better condition than the original left-hand one. So I grabbed myself a little headlight restoring kit, working my way through to the finest sandpaper grade, and then wiping off, and then buffing off with the polishing compound supplied, leaving this headlight looking brand new. For a 20-minute job, well worth it. To give it a bit more of a modern touch, I removed the old amber number plate lights and fitted a nice new set of bright white LED lights. And same goes for the front side light bulbs or parking bulbs, getting rid of that amber and fitting a nice new white LED.
Also, number plates on the front. I would have loved to have run no plate, as I think the front end without a plate on looks so clean. However, it's just not worth the risk and hassle with police and also MOT as well. For the inside, the head unit has arrived and I have connected it up loosely, as you can see here. However, unfortunately, it powers on and I do connect up to CarPlay, but I have no sound coming through the speakers. I do have a clicking noise from this subwoofer piece inside there. Checked all the fuses. I have, like I say, power. I've rechecked my wiring as per the supplier's instruction. The only thing it could be is that the Bose fibre optic box here came with the car and it isn't the exact one for this. So I have bought the exact one that the supplier recommends for this head unit. So the new optic box has arrived from the supplier. The part number is exactly the same on the old one. So apart from it being a new unit and new wires, maybe something inside on the motherboard has gone wrong in that one, but fingers crossed. But I don't really have high hopes of this because I'm pretty sure I've done everything right. But anyway, wire it up and then fingers crossed we get some audio through. So hopefully now this should work. Clicking again, I don't know if you can hear that. Still scratching my head with this, and the person who supplied, or the company that supplied me this, don't know why it's not working. I sent them a couple of videos and they have never seen another connector, optic connector. So I obviously have the one connected into the box, but I've got this spare one which also lights up when the ignition's on. So I have found a little loop connector here. I'm hoping if I now plug that into this spare end, completing the circuit, and then hopefully I will get audio. So let's give it a try. Yes! Yes! Come on! Oh my good lord. Yeah, baby.
I'm exhausted.
I am so happy. How do I turn it down? Get in there. I've been scratching my head for so long with this and I was thinking something's not right, and a simple £8 connector has saved the day. You.
Next up was removing the damaged windscreen. I actually called in a glass company to do this. The chap was really nice, didn't want to get on camera, but I got a little snippet here of just the glass out. Whilst the engine cover was off still, I thought I'd just check the air filter, and it was like new, so a little bit of an airline blowout just to get a few little particles out of it, but happy to leave that in the car, and it saves a bit of money also.
Talking of MOT, I have new wiper blades on, as the original one had split on the one side and we've gone for the newer Aero Bosch ones. So the car is pretty much ready for its MOT. Plates are on, the V5 is here in my name, all the little bits have been done now. However, I thought I'll give it a brake fluid change, might as well, and unfortunately things went wrong. So as the history of the car is unknown at this point, I've decided to do a brake fluid change on it. Nice, cheap, simple vacuum bleeder. Considering I bought the compressor, I thought I might as well do it this way. So this will pull the brake fluid through the system out to the caliper end. The brake fluid reservoir is in here, nice and easy to get to. So I suck the old fluid out of the reservoir
and then filled with fresh fluid, ready to pull it down through the system and out of the rear caliper.
So best practice is to start at the furthest point away from the master cylinder. So for me, that'll be the passenger side rear, and then I'll go over to the driver side rear, and then the passenger side front, and then onto the driver side front. So with the reservoir filled, it's now a case of just attaching the brake bleeder to the caliper nipple, loosening it off, and letting the vacuum of the airline pull the fluid through the line, and just making sure you don't run out of fluid in the reservoir at the front. Okay, so the first brake nipple is extremely tight and I don't like the feel of it. So I have just sprayed some lubricant on the nipple and I'll let that soak. I'll come back to this caliper. I'll come back to this job, in fact, because I just don't want to risk snapping the nipple off in one of these Brembo calipers. So I left the caliper nipples a couple of days to soak in the penetration fluid. Unfortunately, they were still very tight, so I ended up going with a hot air gun, and unfortunately, brake nipple. It was then a case of drilling out in small increments and using an easy out tool to try and tap into the remaining thread of the nipple and undo it. Unfortunately, the remaining steel part of the nipple into the aluminium body of the caliper had just gripped it too tight. So after doing a helicoil repair on the caliper, it wasn't good enough. So I ended up taking the brake caliper off and getting it sent to a machine shop just to drill out both nipples and install a new helicoil deeper into the caliper body, so then the nipple would tighten and lock properly. Whilst the wheels were off and the car was on the axle stands, I thought I might as well do an extra bit of maintenance and replace the spark plugs. Picked up an absolute bargain, 250 quid delivered for a aftermarket exhaust system. This should give a little bit more noise. It shouldn't be too antisocial, and I'm hoping it won't drone considering it's got two rather large silencers still. Nice pair of tips on her, and it will replace the original system, and I'm hoping this comes off pretty easy. The bolts don't look too bad. However, apparently these are known to snap on the studs at the front, so come on. Hopefully this will go easy. Luckily, all of the exhaust bolts at the front came off. What a relief. It was then just a case of removing the bracketry from the back and lowering the exhaust down. So that is the old exhaust off, and it is massive with those secondary cats in there, and it's going to be quite a bit of weight saving. I reckon 5 kilograms on that. How good does this look under here now? I cannot wait to hear this thing now. Oh goddamn, it sounds good. Funny enough, idle is pretty much the same, which is lovely. It's not until you open it up then it becomes apparent it's an aftermarket system. I cannot wait to get this thing howling through the gears. It will sound incredible. So here it is then, at last, outside. Time to give it a little wash over and a little clean up, as it is filthy. With the car washed and dried, I thought I'd just give it a little polish up. So the wing had the Carbon Collective polisher on it, a little pad on there, and can get in all the nooks and crannies. Then the rest of the car I went over with the Auto Finesse orbital polisher, just a little fine cut to make that bodywork pop. I then waxed the whole car with the Chemical Guys Butter Wet Wax. This stuff smells incredible and really gives a deep gloss. I then used the Maguire tyre gel. I have yet to find a better product. It sticks on, it doesn't flick off, and it gives a lovely deep gloss, so definitely check it out. It was then time for a little bit of fuel just to get it off the fuel reserve, ready for the drive-in for its MOT. So you join me from the cockpit of the Porsche Cayman S, absolutely buzzing. MOT was done yesterday. I did try and get this done a couple of weeks ago, but unfortunately on the way to the MOT station, the dash lit up like a Christmas tree. I had a steering angle sensor fault and a couple of other little Porsche stability management faults. That's all now being rectified, taxed, MOT'd, insured. However, classic English weather, it is raining and it is very wet. With the exhaust system on, this thing absolutely howls. There is a little bit of a drone around 2,500 RPM, but you can easily drive around that. Motorway speeds, the RPM's around 3,000 RPM at 70 miles an hour, so you're out of that zone. But where this exhaust really shines is 4.5 all the way to the red line. Genuinely not spent an hour in this car yet, but it's already got me thinking. For £10,000, say you've got that, this is under that, but a £10,000 budget, yes, you can have your Golfs, yes, you can have your S3s, your S4s of a certain age. Let's be sensible here. Let's say 10 years old. They may have more power if they're mapped and whatever, but for character already, this thing, it just feels special. I know it's only an entry-level Porsche, but the noise it makes, the steering, just like the characteristics of it, it's just cool. And it's not DSG, obviously, it's just an organic manual 6-speed box, but it just feels like a little nippy go-kart, and round country roads in England, it's perfect. I've not driven a rear-engined car before, and the balance of this thing already is sublime. So I've clocked up 38 miles now in the car. No faults so far, touch wood, although there's no wood in here. Kind of a bit of a tester this morning because I'm actually going on holiday now, and I didn't know whether to take the van or chance it in this. Obviously this is very fresh, and I'm going to risk it. I'm going to risk it for that chocolate biscuit. So little stop at good old McDonald's, and then 150 miles or so I think it is to get down there. It's mainly motorway, so it should be all right, just cruising along, go nice and steady. Fingers crossed we get there.
What would you like to order?
Can I get a quarter pounder meal, please, with Coke?
Medium or large?
Large, please.
What drink would you like with that?
Coke, please.
Anything else?
That's it, thank you. So that is my holiday done. Awful weather the whole week, and sod's law, the day I go home, it's beautiful sunshine. Driving home and into a storm by the looks of it, and flooding at home, so fingers crossed we get through where we need to in the Porsche. I'm going to plan to do a little detour home and go through the Dartmoor National Park. I found a reservoir on Google Maps that looks pretty cool, and then up through the highland bit of it, or the moors, and then just back across to get onto the M5 and then shoot on back up. So I've made it to the national park, and it is stunning, to be fair. There's a lot more people here than I anticipated. I have just driven over the reservoir, and I'll now put some footage in of that briefly. Being a national park, they're not proper driving roads, do you know what I mean? It's not like in the middle of Wales where you can get away with going quick. It's 40 mile an hour everywhere, and there's horses and whatnot. So, but just for enjoying the scenery, I would highly recommend coming here. The rivers look insane here. I love that, with all the moss and the green, and then the trees as well. Almost looks like Lord of the Rings like. But yeah, definitely a place I need to come back and visit and properly go out for a walk and explore, because there seems to be tons of stuff around here and it is beautiful. So now I need to find my way back out of here and then get on that M5 and then shoot back up to Gloucester ASAP. So that is going to end today's video. Thank you ever so much for watching. 490 miles now covered in the Porsche, and it's been absolutely amazing. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. There's going to be a lot more coming. Give this video a like. Any comments, I'll be happy to answer them. Thank you once again. Take care.